Hello guys, Wilsonbox here, hope you guys are having a great day, and in this video I'm talking about a new legendary Thunderbolt hero, and that hero is Orfenna. So this video, if you have per Conte, will be specially for you. So let's start with the camp and showing some basic mechanics of this hero and Thunderbolt heroes. So let's start with some basic stuff. Before I show you the per Conte and the other girl, let's just start with something easier. So let's start with Nastrenka and Orfenna and doing 1 versus 1 while I explain all these mechanics and stuff. So I'm just gonna switch this gear here, and this is it. So let's talk about Orfenna, how she works. So she has this ultimate, she gains attack speed up to for 15 seconds, and while she attacks, she gets this overload, so each basic attack can shoot 2 extra bullets with each bullet. Then on the battle skill, if she applies Electrocute, if the enemy has Electrocute, she will ignore 30% of their defense. And for the passive, when she's dealing damage with basic attacks, she has 75% chance to refresh their Electrocute and launch Thunderbolt at them once. So this is a Thunderbolt, but it looks like a Dauntless. She works very well with attack speed up. So this new set, Echo 4, is specially made for her. She works very well with this set and is gonna do a lot of damage with this. So let's start this battle and you guys can see the difference. So both of them have a similar gear. Nastrenka has this exclusive, and at the beginning Nastrenka was doing more damage, but the moment Orfenna gets the ultimate, forget it. She will take over control of this fight and she will do more damage than Nastrenka on this fight. Of course, we are not using a Dauntless team, neither a Thunderbolt team. That will be the best option to give them the best of them. And this is it. This was just to show how she works. So what we really want to know, it's with per Conte. So the big deal is when we set per Conte and this new character. So per Conte has this ultimate where for every stack of Overwhelm on the hero, increase the damage of this skill by 3%. And if we check the passive, basically it gains one of these stacks each time the Electrocute is triggered on the enemy hero. And this is kept at 30 stacks. So 30 stacks, it's a lot. So 3%, it's like more 90% of damage if you get to 30 stacks, which is a lot. And Orfenna has this passive. So every time she casts a basic attack and she refreshes their Electrocute, she's going to basically trigger this effect on per Conte. So let's have a look and you guys can see it. So at the start, she is not using the ultimate, so it's gonna be slower. She's going to use the ultimate, okay, 4 stacks, but now she's getting the ultimate and she's going to trigger, so each one of those bullets is going to have a 75% chance to trigger that stacks. Okay, so 25 stacks, 26 stacks on this one, but eventually, if you get better gear on her, more attack speed, she can trigger these effects even more, and some of these ultimates from per Conte will have 30 stacks like this one. You guys can see 30 stacks on this one, so you guys can increase his damage a lot. And I'm just using one Thunderbolt. If you are using 3 Thunderbolts, so per Conte, Orfenna and one more, of course he's going to have 30 stacks all the time, and he's going to increase his damage a lot. So for these tests, all of the other tests I did was on Vortex, and for these tests I used 2 or 3 different teams. So I used the Thunderbolt team, and then I used Rook, and let's just check the gear I used. So the gear I'm gonna show you guys is the gear I used on every team, besides the artifact, of course, for the exclusive. So for this one, for the first test, I did Vortex 1, and just to do a comparison, because as you guys know, Rook scales a lot with his stats. So the more attack percentage and the better stats he has, the more he scales, the more damage he does. Of course, every hero scales, but Rook scales much more than every other hero. So the first one I didn't use artifact on Nissa and I didn't use artifact on Orfenna. The same thing for Rook team. I just used this artifact and artifacts on the tanks, and that's how I did Vortex 1. So if I show you guys, then this was my other team for corrosion. So I didn't use any artifact on Sacridia, and I didn't use any artifact on Whisk. And the damage you guys are gonna see is the damage from that, and then you'll fully equip them. So the first fight I have to show you guys is this Vortex 1 before having using a big gear. So I did a 20 minutes fight. I don't have any affinity points allocated, okay, it's 0 affinity, so if you get some more affinity here, Rook will even do more damage later. So after 20 minutes of fight, this was a 20 minutes of fight, and after that I did 60 million damage. Okay, so then I did the same thing with the Thunderbolt team, the same gear, same sets, everything equal. And after 20 minutes of fight, you guys gonna see that I did a lot more. I did 78 million damage, so I did 18 million more damage than with the Rook team. But as I was saying, the corrosion team, especially Rook, will scale more with attack percentage than any other character, will scale more with his stats. So after that scaling, after giving them much better artifacts, so I used the pipe, and then I gave this is one of the new ones, so more attack percentage. This chest of Horrendous looks really cool. So I did the same thing, again, corrosion on Vortex 1, the same gear, a better gear, this one I just showed to you guys. And after 20 minutes, guys, I went from 60 million damage to 106, so 46 million damage more. And of course, I did the same thing with the Thunderbolt team. So after 20 minutes, same gear again, same thing, I did 105 million damage with the Thunderbolt team. So I mean, this is still really good because the damage is pretty similar. I mean, it's basically the same thing, almost like this corrosion team, but you guys can see that the difference is not so big as we saw at the start, and eventually Rook will scale even more. So just for comparison, I used the Dauntless team, so I used this team here, and I was using exactly the same gear, and after 20 minutes with this Dauntless team on Vortex 1, I did 95 million damage, guys. So it means Thunderbolt did even more damage on Vortex 1 over 20 minutes than the Thunderbolt team. So this is really good because it shows there's a new team with new mechanics here that will scale, that will show up on Vortex. And to finish these tests, I did Vortex 4, of course. I mean, that's our aim. That's what we want to do. And the fight was not so long because Vortex 4 is harder, you got the defense penalty, it does more damage and everything else, so you really need to have the best timings, the best gear, the best everything. Affinity will help a lot on this as well. And with the Thunderbolt team, over 5 minutes 30, I did 22 million damage. With the corrosion team, again, was not a big difference, I did 22.6 million damage. Over 5 minutes and 50, and the thing here will be Ugok. We have Ugok, we're gonna have the new healer hero, the Calavera, and this is a huge combo wombo. So we have these corrosion heroes doing a lot of damage, we have these two big healers slash tank slash whatever, because the Calavera scales with defense percentage, so this will be huge. So if you set the right timings, eventually a poison team, a corrosion team will survive longer than a Radiance Fire team, because they have these best healers, these really great healers, and they have these really big damage. Same thing with Rook. With time, as soon you get more affinity points, more damage, better gear, better everything, Rook will take over and still will be the top damage on Vortex. There's no questions about that. If you're comparing two similar targets at the end game, so the similar sets, the similar gear, the Rook will do more damage on the end game. Of course, on the early game, I think like Thunderbolt or even Dauntless, they will do more damage than Rook, because at the beginning he's not doing so much damage because it takes some time until he starts scaling. But eventually, when he scales that damage, he's going to do a lot of damage, and no one can beat a Corrosion team with Rook on the end game. There's no chance. But with these guys, with this, I'm really happy with this, because this shows that we are gonna have a new team on our top Vortex, or at least this is my opinion, because I did some tests and Orfenna really surprised me. So if you have Perconte, my advice is that you try to get Orfenna from the Season 4 banner, because she's going to boost your Perconte damage a lot, and you'll not regret this. Believe me, you'll not regret this. And I'm really happy with this, because every season we are seeing the same teams on Vortex. It's the Fire with Flora, it's the Rook team, it's Dauntless, because they've been conquering Vortex since season 1, but now with the Rook there's no chance that anyone can beat these teams. And I'm happy, and I really think that Thunderbolt will be a new team that we're gonna see on Vortex, on the Vortex ranking, and probably and maybe they will beat the Flora teams and the Dauntless teams as well, and maybe they will be the second top tier teams on Vortex. And I really hope so, because we don't want to see every season all the same teams on Vortex. We want to see something new, new mechanics, new combos. I mean, we want something new every season, and I think this will be something great to see on Vortex, guys. So don't forget, if you have Perconte, get this Orfenna and boost your damage. So I hope you guys like this video. I hope this helps a lot, especially who has this Perconte, or if you don't have, Orfenna is still really strong. So I hope you enjoyed this video. Don't forget to leave that like on this video if you enjoyed it. Subscribe to my channel if you didn't subscribe yet. Thank you so much for watching, and see ya next time.